3 rare signals your vibration is too high for most people. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." When your vibration reaches a level of rare coherence, you begin to experience life in a way most people can't understand. In today's video from Spiritual Wisdom, we'll explore 3 profound signals that show your vibration has risen beyond the ordinary signs that reflect deep alignment, inner harmony, and authentic awakening. As you listen, ask yourself, have you noticed these shifts in your own energy? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's grow together on this journey of spiritual awakening and personal transformation. First sign, the intelligent body, somatic honesty. Your body becomes a biological lie detector, a living compass that reveals the truth before your mind even realizes it. When you reach a higher state of spirituality and spiritual awakening, the body no longer tolerates deception, pretense, or anything that vibrates out of harmony with your true nature. You begin to notice that physical symptoms like migraines, nausea, and exhaustion aren't random. They arise the moment you betray yourself, when you say yes instead of no, or when you stay silent in the face of what feels wrong. It's not weakness or oversensitivity. It's somatic intelligence, your body's sacred way of defending your authenticity and demanding coherence between who you are inside and what you express outwardly. Carl Jung saw this phenomenon as the body serving the self, the divine center of consciousness that governs integrity at every level of being. When your vibration rises, your body becomes loyal only to truth. It enforces alignment as though it were a biological law. You can no longer remain in false environments, dishonest relationships, or self-denying jobs without feeling sick in some way. Every cell begins to resonate with honesty. Every muscle contracts when something feels fake, and your nervous system instantly recognizes what belongs to your path and what doesn't. The reaction might feel uncomfortable, but it's not punishment, it's protection. It's the way your soul keeps your body from sinking back into energies that once dimmed your light. You start to understand that your physical discomfort is a sacred form of communication. The headache after pretending to be someone you're not is your body's language of truth. The fatigue after spending time around deceitful people is your soul signaling this is not where your energy belongs. Through this awareness, you begin to see your body not as an obstacle, but as a guardian. It watches over your spiritual growth, ensuring that your external world remains aligned with your inner truth. What once seemed like sensitivity now reveals itself as higher perception, a refinement of your vibration that allows your entire being to sense authenticity the way an instrument senses resonance. This somatic honesty deepens your spiritual awakening because it forces you to live in integrity. You realize that spirituality isn't about escaping the body, but about listening to it. It is the bridge between the visible and the invisible, the human and the divine. The more honest you are with yourself, the lighter your energy feels. The more you deny your truth, the heavier your body becomes. The body, in its divine intelligence, becomes the messenger of your soul's vibration. It will refuse to let you hide, pretend, or stay small. It will guide you through sensations and instincts back to your most authentic frequency. In this way, your body transforms into the guardian of your soul's coherence. It becomes the first responder to spiritual dissonance, the silent voice that speaks through feeling rather than words. It tells you when your spirit is aligned and when it's not. And when you learn to trust its wisdom, you discover that every ache, every flutter, and every pulse carries the same message live truthfully. Or your soul will remind you through the body that you cannot heal in a place where you continue to betray yourself. Have you ever noticed your body giving you signals before your mind could understand them? Share your experience in the comments below so others can learn from your journey. And if you've never paid attention to your body's wisdom before, comment, "I will listen," to begin connecting with your intelligent body today. Second sign, the responsive universe, synchronicity. Reality begins to move in rhythm with your inner world, as if the universe itself has tuned into your personal frequency. When your vibration rises to a certain level, life stops being random. You start to experience moments of perfect alignment events, signs, and coincidences that feel too intentional to dismiss. Carl Jung called this phenomenon synchronicity, the causal connection where your inner psyche and external reality merge into one seamless dialogue. These synchronicities become constant companions on your path of spirituality and spiritual development, appearing in forms both subtle and breathtaking. You think of someone and suddenly receive their message. You ask for a sign and hear the exact words you needed in a song. You open a book and find the answer staring back at you. It's as if the fabric of existence bends gently to meet the vibration you emit, echoing your consciousness in symbolic form. In these moments, life feels alive, responsive, intelligent, and deeply personal. Every experience begins to mirror your inner energy with startling accuracy. What you feel internally becomes reflected externally. What you think becomes visible in form. The separation between your mind and the world begins to dissolve, and you realize that life itself is a mirror, showing you not what you want to see, but who you are being. This is the hidden power of spirituality. It reveals that reality is not something happening to you, but something happening through you. Every coincidence becomes a message, every delay a redirection, and every person a reflection of your current vibration. The universe starts speaking in a language beyond words, through signs, emotions, and alignment. But this heightened sensitivity also calls for deeper responsibility. When you begin to see the outer world as an extension of your inner world, blame and victimhood lose their grip. You can no longer point fingers or escape into self-pity because you recognize your creative role in every circumstance. The more you evolve spiritually, the more aware you become that you co-create everything you experience. If you radiate love, you attract loving experiences. If you dwell in fear, you draw fearful reflections. The universe does not judge, it simply mirrors. Your reality becomes an interactive canvas, responding instantly to the vibration you carry. Each synchronicity invites you to look within, to refine your frequency and align with your higher truth. When synchronicities begin to multiply, they are not just magical signs, but spiritual feedback. They whisper that your consciousness is in harmony with the larger flow of life. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Through spiritual development, you begin to understand this truth in living color. You see that every coincidence is an invitation to wake up, to pay attention, to align your thoughts with your soul's wisdom. The universe doesn't speak through logic, it speaks through resonance. When your vibration is high, this resonance becomes undeniable, and the line between thought and reality fades. You realize that the world is not a distant reflection, but a responsive companion, echoing your inner state in every unfolding moment. And as you walk this path with awareness, life itself becomes a divine conversation, one where your every breath, thought, and emotion shapes the symphony of your reality. Comment below. I trust the signs of the universe. If you believe synchronicity is guiding your path toward higher alignment and purpose. Third sign, the polarizing presence, energetic projection. The polarizing presence or energetic projection appears when others react to you in intense, unpredictable ways. Some are drawn to you with fascination, while others feel discomfort or even hostility in your presence. This is not because you are doing anything wrong. It is because your vibration has reached a higher frequency that mirrors back what others are unable or unwilling to face within themselves. As Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Your energy does exactly that. It makes the unconscious visible. People unconsciously project their inner worlds onto you, seeing either light or threat, depending on what parts of themselves they have accepted or denied. This spontaneous polarization happens naturally when your spiritual wisdom grows and your authenticity deepens, because truth has a frequency that cannot be disguised or softened to make others comfortable. You may notice that some people open their hearts to you immediately, drawn to your calm presence and grounded energy, while others grow tense or defensive without any clear reason. That's because your vibration exposes the hidden parts of their psyche, their fears, insecurities, or unhealed wounds, and they either feel safe enough to release them or triggered enough to resist them. You cannot hide or blend in because your energy field speaks louder than words. It reflects what is real, not what is performed. Carl Jung also wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When someone reacts strongly to you, it is often their soul recognizing something they have yet to integrate. Your presence becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to look into it. This dynamic can feel isolating, but it is actually a sign of spiritual awakening. High vibrational energy does not seek approval, it seeks alignment. When you walk into a room, your frequency naturally organizes the space. Those who are ready for healing will be drawn to you, while those still living in denial will withdraw or project their discomfort onto you. It's not personal. It's an energetic truth in motion. You may experience moments when someone admires you deeply one day and avoids you the next. That's the fluctuation between their conscious self and their shadow trying to coexist. Your task is not to fix or chase their reactions, but to remain steady in your own light. As your spiritual wisdom matures, you learn to read these reactions as data, not rejection. Attraction shows resonance. Resistance shows unhealed distortion. Both teach you how energy communicates more honestly than words ever can. When you sense polarization around you, stay grounded. Speak gently, breathe deeply, and allow others the dignity of their own process. You do not need to shrink your light to make anyone comfortable, nor should you amplify it to prove your worth. Just be real, and reality will sort itself around you. Those meant to understand you will rise to your level. Those who cannot will fade away. And that is not loss. It is purification. Your vibration becomes both a compass and a filter, guiding you toward relationships built on truth instead of illusion. This is the essence of the polarizing presence. Your energy is no longer neutral. It is catalytic. It wakes people up. It disrupts falsehoods. It reveals hidden patterns. In every encounter, you either inspire transformation or expose resistance. That is the power of living consciously. That is what it means when your vibration is too high for most people. We hope this deep dive into the polarizing presence and energetic projection has helped you understand how your high vibration naturally reshapes the energy around you. If you're ready to embrace your authentic frequency and stand confidently in your truth, comment, "I radiate pure energy," below. 4. The deeper meaning: Jungian integration and coherence. High vibration is not a badge of moral perfection or a symbol of spiritual superiority. It is the quiet result of deep psychological wholeness. When you reach this level of being, you no longer try to destroy your shadow or glorify your light. Instead, you merge them into one harmonious truth. You have faced every corner of your inner darkness, forgiven every version of yourself, and allowed every wound to teach you wisdom. This unity transforms you from within, and that coherence begins to reshape the way reality responds to you. Carl Jung described this as individuation, the end of the inner civil war, and the beginning of a peaceful kingdom within your own soul. Your energy becomes stable, radiant, and calm. Your choices flow from clarity instead of conflict. You no longer chase happiness or fight pain. You simply allow everything to exist without resistance. And that surrender raises your vibration beyond what words can describe. Yet this coherence often creates distance between you and the world around you. Most people are still fighting their own inner wars, still rejecting their shadows, or pretending to live only in the light. When they encounter someone whose energy is whole, they feel both drawn and unsettled, because your presence silently reflects what they have not yet integrated. It's not that you are above them, it's that your peace exposes their unrest. You become like a mirror that reveals both beauty and wounds, and not everyone is ready to see themselves so clearly. Spiritual awakening, therefore, is not always comforting. It can feel isolating because very few can stand in the frequency of truth without flinching. As you continue to evolve in spirituality, you begin to understand that solitude is not loneliness, it is sacred alignment. You stop seeking external validation because your inner world has become your home. You no longer need to prove your goodness or justify your path. You know that true power does not shout. It hums quietly in the background, shaping reality through presence, not performance. This is the vibration of coherence. A mind no longer at war with itself, a heart no longer divided by fear and desire. Jung taught that when the unconscious becomes conscious, life itself becomes an act of creation rather than reaction. You move from chaos to clarity, from fragmentation to oneness. The world, however, is not always ready for such frequency. Your calm may be misunderstood as coldness, your clarity mistaken for arrogance, your detachment judged as indifference. But within you, there is no arrogance, only balance. There is no indifference, only deep acceptance. You have learned that energy speaks louder than words, and that truth vibrates beyond the intellect. When you walk into a room, your coherence subtly rearranges the energy. Chaos softens, masks fall away, silence deepens. Some will be magnetically drawn to you, others will retreat, but both reactions are guided by resonance. High vibration, in its essence, is the end of resistance. It is the point where your soul, mind, and body move as one current of awareness. You realize that life is not something happening to you. It is something happening through you. Reality bends to your inner frequency, reflecting the peace you have built inside. And while not everyone will understand it, those who are meant to meet you on this path will feel it deeply. In the language of spiritual wisdom, this is what it means to live as a whole being, to embody peace so fully that even your silence becomes a form of light. 5. The trap: spiritual ego and psychic inflation. The greatest danger on the path of spirituality is not darkness, but mistaking light for personal ownership. As Carl Jung warned, psychic inflation happens when one begins to identify with divine power, rather than serving as its vessel. When you start to feel your vibration rise, when intuition becomes sharp and energy flows freely, it's tempting to believe that this elevation means you are somehow above others. Yet that belief is the ego wearing sacred robes. It quietly replaces humility with superiority, and the moment it does, your spiritual growth stops. True spiritual development has nothing to prove. It is soft, humble, and invisible, because real power doesn't announce itself, it simply radiates. As your energy expands, the ego becomes clever. It no longer craves material dominance, but spiritual validation. You may begin to see yourself as more awakened, more conscious, or more in tune with the universe than others. But this is the illusion that separates you from the essence of love itself. Jung's wisdom reminds us that the higher you rise, the more deeply you must bow. Those who are truly awakened do not need to speak of their awakening. Their silence is powerful, their kindness unmistakable, and their presence naturally shifts the energy of any space they enter. Spirituality, at its core, is not about proving enlightenment. It is about living it in the most ordinary moments with grace, patience, and compassion. When your vibration reaches a high state, it is not a mark of superiority, but a sign of deep alignment. You are not chosen above others. You are entrusted with the task of holding light responsibly. The universe gives more power to those who have learned not to misuse it. Every spiritual gift carries with it a moral weight to remain humble, gentle, and anchored in love. To be high in vibration is to carry immense sensitivity, to feel the emotions of others, and to still choose peace instead of pride. The more aware you become, the less you need to be right. The more connected you feel, the less you need to be recognized. True spiritual development is quiet because it has transcended performance. It no longer needs applause or agreement. It knows that stillness is the highest form of mastery. A spiritually mature person doesn't see others as unawakened. They see everyone as a reflection of their own journey, some at the beginning, some in the middle, some near the light. Jung's insight is a timeless reminder that humility is not weakness, but divine balance. When you truly serve as a vessel of higher energy, you realize that light does not belong to you. It moves through you. And the more you let it flow without claiming it, the brighter it becomes. This is the quiet radiance of true spirituality. Gentle, grounded, and free from the need to be seen. 6. The final stage, living integration. When the final stage of your spiritual awakening unfolds, what once felt mystical now becomes your everyday reality. You begin to notice how your body's honesty, the world's feedback, and other people's reactions all move in a seamless flow. You no longer chase signs or question your path. You simply live it. You stop analyzing, stop overthinking, and stop seeking validation because you finally trust the quiet rhythm of your own soul. Spirituality no longer feels like something you practice or perform. It becomes the atmosphere of your being, the way you breathe, speak, and walk through life without trying. In this state, high vibration becomes effortless authenticity, a natural expression of truth and responsibility that radiates from within you. Your energy speaks louder than words, and your presence alone becomes a reflection of light and awareness. People feel you before they understand you. Some are drawn to your peace, while others are unsettled by it, not because you've changed, but because your energy reveals their hidden shadows. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." When you live in high vibration, you unconsciously awaken this truth in others. Your light mirrors what they have yet to face. And though it can sometimes isolate you, this solitude is not a punishment. It is sacred space for your vibration to stabilize, to deepen, and to harmonize with the frequency of divine truth. In this level of awareness, you stop reacting to life and start responding from presence. Every encounter, every word, every emotion becomes part of the same sacred dance. You no longer take things personally because you understand that people's reactions are simply mirrors, reflecting their own inner world. You realize that true spiritual wisdom is not found in how much you know, but in how calmly you can remain centered amidst chaos. You don't seek to control outcomes. You trust the unfolding. You no longer need to prove your light because your existence itself is proof. This is where you become unshakable, not through force, but through surrender. Carl Jung believed that real enlightenment comes from making peace with your darkness, not avoiding it. You've faced your shadows, embraced your pain, and allowed them to become part of your light. And now, you walk as a whole being integrated, conscious, and free. High vibration is not about perfection or constant positivity. It's about living in truth, moment by moment. It's the quiet confidence that comes when you no longer need to be spiritual because you are spirituality itself, the living embodiment of awareness, love, and grace moving through human form. In this final stage, you no longer chase awakening. You breathe it, you live it, and you are it. When your vibration reaches such a rare frequency, not everyone will understand you, and that's perfectly fine. True alignment often requires walking a path few can follow. Remember, your energy isn't meant to be understood by everyone. It's meant to guide those who are ready. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos on spiritual awakening and the deeper insights of Carl Jung. 10 hidden signs you were born gifted. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Carl Jung. Have you ever felt different? Like you sense the world more deeply than others? What if that feeling isn't a flaw, but a sign that you were born gifted? In today's video from Spiritual Wisdom, we'll uncover 10 hidden signs that reveal the depth of your intuition, empathy, and purpose. As you listen, reflect on your own experiences. Do these truths resonate with your soul? Comment below and share which signs you recognize in yourself. Remember, awareness is the first step toward personal growth and lasting happiness. Let's begin this journey of awakening together. 1. Restless mind. A restless mind is not a flaw. It is the signature of a gifted soul. You get bored easily, not because you are careless or impatient, but because your mind processes information at an extraordinary speed. Your thoughts race, your curiosity burns, and your awareness constantly hungers for something deeper. Ordinary routines or small talk cannot satisfy you because your inner world moves faster than the world outside. You crave mental stimulation, not out of distraction, but from a deep spiritual need to grow, evolve, and understand life beyond the surface. This restlessness is not a problem to fix. It is a sign that your consciousness is awakening to higher levels of perception. You can sense things others overlook. You pick up patterns, connections, and meanings hidden beneath what's visible. While many feel comfortable in repetition, you grow restless in stagnation. You need challenge, mystery, and depth to feel alive. Your mind is like a storm of creativity and insight, constantly forming new ideas and possibilities. This is the mark of spiritual intelligence, a consciousness expanding faster than it can be contained. But such a gift often brings loneliness. When others move slowly, you may feel misunderstood or out of place. Yet this very restlessness is your initiation into spiritual awakening. It pushes you to search for truth, to transcend limits, and to align your intellect with your soul. At times, this restless energy can feel overwhelming. It may keep you awake at night or make you feel disconnected from the world around you. But what if this inner movement is not chaos, but divine design? Carl Jung once said, "Restlessness is discontent, and discontent is the first necessity of progress." Your discontent is sacred. It is the universe speaking through your mind, urging you to keep evolving. Instead of silencing your mind, you can learn to direct it toward understanding, creativity, and transformation. Through spirituality and spiritual growth, your restlessness becomes your greatest teacher, reminding you that fulfillment doesn't come from stillness alone, but from conscious engagement with life's mysteries. The gifted mind is like a wild horse, untamed, powerful, and beautiful when free. You cannot force it to slow down through suppression. Instead, you must guide it through awareness. Meditation, mindful breathing, or deep reflection can help you channel this energy, not as chaos, but as clarity. When you learn to pause between thoughts, the noise softens and wisdom begins to speak. The restless mind finds peace not by escaping its speed, but by harmonizing it with the rhythm of the soul. You realize that true calm is not the absence of motion, but the mastery of it. Every restless thought, every craving for new experiences, every question that refuses to leave your mind, they all serve a purpose. They are signs that you were born to explore, to connect the seen and unseen, to bring spiritual wisdom into everyday life. Your restless mind is not your enemy. It is your compass. It leads you toward evolution, toward purpose, toward a deeper state of awareness, where curiosity transforms into consciousness and movement becomes meaning. This is how your restlessness turns into revelation, the bridge between intellect and intuition, where the mind becomes a sacred instrument of spiritual growth. 2. Giftedness is often misunderstood. Giftedness is often misunderstood, not because it hides, but because society rarely knows how to recognize it. It's not about high IQ scores or perfect grades. In fact, many truly gifted people spend their lives believing they are broken or flawed because their brilliance doesn't fit conventional molds. They feel too deeply, think too much, and sense the invisible patterns that others overlook. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that is exactly what the gifted soul must learn to embrace their contradictions as signs of spiritual awakening rather than symptoms of imbalance. They are born with a spiritual sensitivity that makes the ordinary world feel too shallow. Their minds wired to explore truth, meaning, and the deeper nature of existence. Those who are spiritually gifted often carry an inner conflict, a longing for belonging, and a simultaneous resistance to conformity. From childhood, they may have been told they are too intense, too emotional, too serious. But what others perceive as excess is in fact their soul's way of interpreting life at a higher frequency. They read energy the way others read words. They feel emotions like colors, vivid and alive. Their awareness stretches beyond logic into intuition, allowing them to pick up on what is unsaid, unseen, and unspoken. This sensitivity can be exhausting, but it is also sacred. It's a channel through which higher consciousness speaks. Carl Jung described individuation as the process of becoming whole. And for gifted individuals, this journey can feel like a battlefield between mind and spirit. They experience the world through layers of perception, constantly decoding symbols and synchronicities that others dismiss as coincidence. Their solitude is not isolation, it's initiation. The universe often pulls them away from noise and distraction so they can hear the truth within. These dark nights of the soul are not punishments, but passages through which the spirit expands. When they emerge, they carry wisdom that cannot be learned from books, only from surrender. Gifted souls live with an intensity that can be both a burden and a blessing. They absorb emotions like sponges, often confusing others' pain for their own. Yet within this emotional turbulence lies their greatest potential for transformation. Once they learn to manage their energy instead of being consumed by it, their empathy evolves into clarity, their vulnerability becomes strength, and their intuition becomes guidance. What once felt like chaos begins to align into purpose. This is the true art of spirituality, turning sensitivity into wisdom and pain into awakening. Every challenge becomes a mirror, reflecting the parts of themselves they must integrate to grow. Spiritual awakening teaches that giftedness is not a destination, but a continuous process of remembering. These individuals are not meant to fit in. They are meant to elevate, to question, to inspire others simply by embodying truth. Their depth is not a curse, it's a compass. Their difference is not isolation, it's initiation. When they stop apologizing for their sensitivity and start embracing it as divine design, their entire perception of life shifts. They realize that giftedness is not about superiority, but about responsibility. The responsibility to live consciously, love deeply, and move through life with awareness that their energy shapes reality. Have you ever felt like your gifts were more of a burden than a blessing? If so, share your story in the comments so others can learn from your journey. If you're still discovering what makes you truly gifted, comment, "I'm awakening," and let's uncover the truth of your hidden potential together. 3. Self-doubt. Gifted people often live in a constant dialogue with their own minds, questioning every thought, decision, and path as if the act of doubt itself were a sacred ritual of self-examination. Their self-doubt does not arise from weakness, but from awareness. The kind of awareness that sees far beyond appearances. They notice every imperfection, every gap in understanding, and instead of admiring what they already know, they dwell on what they have yet to master. This creates a subtle but powerful tension between humility and brilliance. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And for gifted individuals, that privilege is often accompanied by the weight of relentless introspection. Their spirituality deepens through this process because each doubt becomes an invitation to look within, to confront the hidden chambers of the psyche where truth and fear coexist. In moments of self-doubt, the gifted person doesn't simply feel inadequate. They experience the echo of every possibility they haven't yet fulfilled. Their mind races not because it is weak, but because it is hungry for meaning, precision, and truth. They see what others overlook. They sense what others ignore. And this sensitivity, though profound, often becomes heavy to carry. In the silence of their thoughts, they replay every word, every action, every missed opportunity, seeking to understand what they could have done better. Yet this endless analysis is also the mark of spiritual awakening. For when the ego dissolves, the mind becomes aware not of what it owns, but of what it still has to learn. And this humility is the soil where wisdom begins to bloom. Self-doubt for the gifted is like a mirror that reflects both their light and their shadow. They do not merely question their ability. They question their purpose, their place in the universe, and the meaning of their existence. Jung believed that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. When gifted people doubt themselves, it is often the unconscious whispering to them, calling them to recognize their unseen depths. It is not failure trying to destroy them, but the psyche trying to awaken them. Every wave of uncertainty, every moment of hesitation becomes a sacred test of faith, an opportunity to transcend old versions of themselves and to align their outer life with the quiet knowing of their soul. The spiritually awakened mind understands that doubt and growth walk hand in hand. Without doubt, there is no expansion. Without humility, there is no transformation. For those who are truly gifted, confidence does not come from certainty, but from awareness that every unanswered question, every moment of hesitation is part of the journey toward self-realization. Their spirituality teaches them that to be human is to be in constant evolution, to oscillate between fear and faith, shadow and light, until both dissolve into one. And so, the gifted continue their path, carrying their self-doubt not as a curse, but as a compass, a reminder that the greatest minds are not those who claim to know everything, but those who never stop searching. 4. Obsessive focus. When something captures your attention so deeply that you can't rest until you've fully unraveled its meaning, that's not mere stubbornness. It's the mark of a gifted mind. Obsessive focus is the sacred fire that burns within those who are born to understand what lies beneath the surface. In spirituality, This intensity isn't a flaw. It's a divine signal from your higher self, calling you to explore the mysteries that others overlook. When an idea, problem, or vision takes hold of you and refuses to let go, it's your soul recognizing alignment with your true path. Carl Jung believed that the ability to concentrate deeply bridges the conscious and unconscious worlds, and through that bridge, the self awakens to its hidden wisdom. That's why you may find yourself unable to stop thinking, researching, or creating until clarity emerges. It's not an obsession. Its purpose is expressing itself through you. This inner pull can make you seem distant or preoccupied, but it's actually a profound form of devotion. Think of a composer lost in the melody that only they can hear, or an inventor so immersed in thought that time disappears. You may forget to eat, lose track of hours, or feel an unstoppable rush of insight that arrives like divine lightning in the night. You're not distracted, you're connected to something greater. In moments of deep focus, the boundaries between you and what you study begin to dissolve, revealing the spiritual truth that the observer and the observed are one. This is not just concentration, it's a form of spiritual growth, a moment when consciousness expands beyond the ordinary and touches the essence of creation itself. Yet even this sacred fire must be tended carefully. When your focus becomes too consuming, it can trap you in endless loops of perfectionism and restlessness. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Your focus must serve your awakening, not enslave it. True mastery lies in knowing when to surrender, to step back, breathe, and allow your intuition to speak. When guided by awareness, obsessive focus transforms from mental pressure into spiritual flow. It becomes a meditative state in motion, where every thought, every detail, every breakthrough becomes part of your soul's evolution. Those who misunderstand your intensity might call it strange or excessive, but what they see as obsession is simply your deep relationship with meaning. Gifted souls don't chase distractions. They dive into depth. They feel an inner demand to reach truth, not comfort, to understand rather than escape. Spirituality teaches that this hunger for knowledge is the language of the soul, reminding you that curiosity is sacred. Your fixation is not madness. It's devotion to the unseen pattern behind life. Every sleepless night spent solving, creating, or learning is proof that your consciousness is expanding, preparing you for higher understanding. So when you find yourself caught in that familiar state of relentless focus, remember, it's not a weakness to be cured. It's a compass pointing you toward your evolution. What others call obsession is often the soul's way of saying, "Don't stop now." You're close to the truth. Each moment of deep engagement refines your mind and strengthens your spirit, awakening you to the vast intelligence that flows through all things. This is how spiritual growth unfolds, not in comfort, but in the sacred fire of focus that turns thought into wisdom and effort into awakening. Leave your like and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and don't forget to activate the notification bell so you never miss a moment of insight on your spiritual awakening. If today's message about obsessive focus helped you understand your own gift on a deeper level, share this video with someone who needs it, and type in the comments, "My focus is my divine power." 5. Intense emotions. You feel everything so deeply that even the smallest moment can shake your entire being. When happiness arrives, it's overwhelming, almost divine. And when sadness comes, it feels like drowning in an ocean of your own thoughts. Yet this emotional depth is not weakness, it's your strength. As Carl Jung once said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. What you're feeling is life turned up to full volume. You don't just exist, you experience, absorb, and internalize the essence of everything around you. Your sensitivity is the language of your soul, the quiet proof that you were born gifted with a mind that sees meaning where others see none. You sense things others miss, the shift in someone's tone, the hidden sorrow in a smile, the energy that fills a room before anyone speaks. You feel people before you understand them, and often that sensitivity leaves you misunderstood. You've probably been told you're too emotional, too intense, or that you take things too seriously. But the truth is, your emotions are not flaws. They are your superpowers. They connect you to the collective pulse of humanity. You feel the pain others try to hide, and that empathy, though heavy, gives you the ability to heal, to guide, and to understand life at a level few ever reach. Jung believed that gifted people carry an inner tension between their spiritual depth and the outer world's shallow noise. That tension isn't punishment. It's the fire that shapes your consciousness. Sometimes your heart feels like it's carrying the weight of the world. The suffering of others echoes inside you. Injustice, cruelty, or even silence pierces your being. But what if your emotions were never meant to break you, only to awaken you? Each tear you shed carves space for wisdom to enter. Each moment of heartbreak refines your compassion. Each burst of joy reminds you that your spirit still believes in beauty despite the chaos. The more deeply you feel, the more life teaches you to transform pain into art, confusion into understanding, and despair into a kind of sacred faith. According to Carl Jung's spiritual wisdom, emotions are the bridge between your conscious self and the divine depths of your unconscious. Every emotion you experience carries a message, a mirror reflecting something you need to see or release. The sadness you run from is often an unopened door to your purpose. The anger you suppress may be the voice of your unclaimed power. Until you make the unconscious conscious, Jung said, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. When you begin to listen to your emotions instead of escaping them, you no longer live by fate. You live by awareness. So when your emotions flood you, don't resist them. Feel them. Observe them. Let them move through you without fear. You are not too much. You are simply tuned to a higher frequency of life. This intensity is what allows you to see beyond the surface, to hear what souls whisper in silence, and to turn every experience into understanding. You were born to experience the full spectrum of human feeling so that through your awakening, others can learn to feel again. Your emotions are not storms to survive. They are the winds of transformation that carry your spirit toward its highest form of consciousness. 6. Heightened sensitivity. Your heightened sensitivity is not a weakness. It is one of the hidden signs that you were born gifted. You may find yourself easily overstimulated by bright lights, loud noises, or rough textures. Yet this sensitivity also allows you to experience the world with a depth and vividness that most people cannot imagine. You don't just see. You feel every detail, every vibration, every subtle shift in the atmosphere. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And part of that journey is realizing that your sensitivity is not a flaw to fix, but a gift to understand. You are like a finely tuned instrument, one that resonates with the energy of life itself. This sensitivity means you perceive beauty, emotion, and truth on frequencies others may never reach. And while it can sometimes feel overwhelming, it also makes you spiritually awake to the interconnectedness of all things. When you walk into a room, you can sense the unspoken emotions lingering in the air before anyone speaks. You can feel when someone is hiding sadness behind a smile or when tension fills the silence. This is not imagination, it is energy recognition. Carl Jung believed that sensitivity is the foundation of intuition, the bridge that connects the conscious and unconscious realms. Your system absorbs the emotions, intentions, and vibrations of others because your awareness operates beyond logic. That's why crowds can feel draining and superficial conversations can feel unbearable. You are not reacting too much. You are simply processing life at a higher resolution. Spiritual wisdom reminds us that the more awake your senses are, the more responsibility you carry to protect your peace and maintain your balance. Your gift allows you to detect hidden truths, but it also requires you to master energetic boundaries so you don't carry what isn't yours. This heightened awareness is often the mark of an old soul, someone who came into this world already knowing how to feel deeply. It is the same quality that inspired great visionaries, artists, and mystics throughout history. People whose sensitivity allowed them to translate invisible emotions into poetry, music, and innovation. They didn't see their sensitivity as fragility. They saw it as the doorway to creativity and spiritual awakening. As Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. You might have suffered because of how deeply you feel, but that very depth is what shapes your wisdom, empathy, and understanding. You are capable of perceiving patterns in chaos, hearing meaning in silence, and finding divine order where others see confusion. You may often feel like you are too much for the world, too emotional, too aware, too intense, but in truth, you are exactly as you are meant to be. Sensitivity is not about weakness. It is about perception. It allows you to tune into life's hidden rhythms, to sense divine timing, and to align your actions with your soul's calling. The world needs people like you, people who can feel beyond the surface and bring light to what is unseen. The key is to honor this part of yourself instead of fighting it. Protect your space, listen to your intuition, and use your empathy with intention. Your sensitivity is not something to escape. It is your spiritual compass, guiding you toward truth. Through this lens of spiritual wisdom and Carl Jung's insight, you begin to see that your sensitivity is the universe's way of awakening you. It teaches you to slow down, to notice what others ignore, and to live in alignment with the subtleties of existence. You are not fragile. You are finely tuned to the divine frequency of life itself. The lesson hidden within your sensitivity is this: the more deeply you feel, the more deeply you can love, create, and awaken. And when you learn to embrace that, you stop surviving your sensitivity and start thriving through it. If you find this content touching your heart, please consider becoming a member to receive more in-depth lessons and direct support from me. 7. Perfectionism. Perfectionism is not vanity. It is a quiet, spiritual hunger for excellence that lives deep within you. You don't chase perfection to impress others. You chase it because you see infinite room for improvement in everything you touch. There's an inner voice that whispers, you can do better, refine more, reach higher, and you can't silence it. You sense possibilities others overlook, details others ignore, patterns others miss. It's as if your soul is wired to polish reality until it aligns with the vision in your mind. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, and your perfectionism is part of that journey." It's not about control. It's about harmony between your potential and your expression, between your inner truth and the world that receives it. You notice the slightest imbalance, the faintest imperfection, the smallest deviation from what feels right. To others, your standards may seem unreachable, but to you, they're natural, because your mind doesn't stop at good enough. You see creation as something sacred, and every act of improvement is a form of devotion. This is where spirituality meets craftsmanship, the unseen art of aligning the human and the divine through attention, effort, and presence. Your drive to perfect things is not ego, it's reverence for possibility. Yet sometimes, this gift feels heavy. You may find yourself revising endlessly, doubting your progress, feeling haunted by the thought that it's still not there yet. But this restlessness is not a flaw. It's evidence of a soul that knows evolution never ends. Still, perfectionism carries a paradox. It fuels growth, but it can also exhaust you. You hold yourself to impossible standards, and when you fall short, you suffer quietly, believing you failed. But what if this striving is your spiritual training ground? What if the lesson isn't about reaching perfection, but learning to see beauty even in the unfinished? True spiritual growth begins when you allow yourself to be both the sculptor and the sculpture, constantly shaping, yet never condemning. Jung reminded us, no tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. In the same way, your pursuit of excellence must embrace imperfection. For without flaws, there would be no evolution, no wisdom, no soul. The deeper truth is that perfectionism, when guided by love and awareness, becomes sacred discipline. It transforms anxiety into artistry, fear into focus, self-criticism into self-mastery. Each time you strive to improve, you're not chasing an illusion. You're refining your alignment with your higher self. But the real mastery comes when you learn to release control, to trust that your effort is enough, to surrender the need for flawless outcomes, and instead cherish the process of becoming. That is the highest form of spirituality, turning the endless climb for perfection into a dance of acceptance and grace. When you reach that understanding, perfectionism no longer imprisons you. It liberates you, teaching you that true perfection is not about the absence of flaws, but the presence of awareness, love, and purpose in everything you do. If this truth about perfectionism resonates with you, comment, "I agree," below. And if you see it differently, share your view with, "I don't think so." Your voice helps us bring more meaningful spiritual wisdom to our community. 8. Pattern recognition. You naturally see patterns where others see randomness, connecting events, emotions, and experiences with a clarity that feels almost prophetic. This ability to detect hidden order isn't just intelligence, it's a reflection of a deep spiritual awakening. Your mind operates like a finely tuned instrument, always decoding meaning beneath the surface of life, linking what appears unrelated into one continuous thread of purpose. What others dismiss as coincidence, you recognize as synchronicity. What others call luck, you understand as divine timing. This isn't imagination. It's intuition aligned with higher consciousness, a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms that few truly perceive. Your analytical intelligence doesn't stop at logic. It expands into emotional and spiritual insight. You notice how patterns in your relationships repeat until lessons are learned, how emotions return until they're released, and how opportunities resurface until you are ready to embrace them. Carl Jung once said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Your gift of pattern recognition is the essence of this truth. It reveals how energy moves, how cycles unfold, and how your inner world shapes your outer experience. You are not merely thinking. You are perceiving life through the language of symbols, archetypes, and hidden design. Yet with this heightened perception often comes a sense of isolation. Because while others drift through life unaware, you stand at the edge of awareness, feeling both the beauty and burden of seeing too much. You understand connections that others overlook, and this can make you feel misunderstood or out of place. But what feels like alienation is actually initiation, a call to awaken deeper spiritual wisdom. You are being guided to recognize that nothing in your life happens at random, that every challenge, every person, every emotion is part of a greater pattern shaping your soul's evolution. The moment you stop resisting and start observing, you begin to understand that spirituality is not about escaping reality, but about decoding it. When you walk through life with this awareness, everything becomes meaningful. You begin to read the world like a sacred text. The way a stranger looks at you, the repetition of numbers, the timing of a conversation, even the silence between words all become signs from the universe. This level of perception is not just a skill, it's a responsibility. Because the more awake you are, the more clearly you see the interconnectedness of all things. It's as if the universe itself whispers to you in patterns, guiding your steps toward transformation. So when you notice these recurring connections, when your intuition warns you, or your mind links events that others ignore, understand that this is your soul communicating through consciousness. You are not meant to live on the surface. You are meant to dive deep, to trace the hidden geometry of existence, and to bring light to what others overlook. In spirituality, this is not an accident, but a sign of awakening. The same wisdom Carl Jung described when he said, "The psyche speaks in symbols." Your gift is not to simply think, but to see, to read between the lines of life and translate energy into understanding. This is the true art of spiritual awakening, the realization that every moment, no matter how ordinary, is part of a greater pattern woven by divine intelligence. 9. Feeling out of place. You've always felt like you didn't quite belong, haven't you? Like your mind moves in directions others can't follow. Like you're seeing the world through a lens too sharp for most people to handle. You sense things others overlook, and your thoughts seem to travel to places where logic and intuition meet. This is not a weakness. It's one of the hidden signs that you were born gifted. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that truth holds deep spiritual wisdom, because your difference is not a flaw to hide, but a divine design that sets you apart for a purpose. There were times you tried to fit in, to silence the parts of yourself that felt too deep, too intense, too curious. Yet the more you tried to conform, the more alien you felt. Jung taught that the shoe that fits one person pinches another, reminding us that life doesn't offer one-size-fits-all paths. Your journey was meant to be unconventional. That sense of isolation you felt isn't punishment, it's preparation. The universe often pulls gifted souls away from the noise of the world so they can hear their inner voice clearly. That quiet whisper of intuition, that feeling that something greater is guiding you, is not imagination. It's your compass calling you home to your truth. You experience emotions in high definition. You feel pain deeply, but you also experience beauty and joy with unmatched intensity. This sensitivity can make life overwhelming at times, but it's also your greatest superpower. It allows you to read between the lines, to feel what others can't say, to sense energy before words are spoken. You were born to notice the invisible, the emotional, the spiritual, the energetic patterns that shape existence. Many people live on the surface. You were born to explore the depths. That's the nature of spiritual awakening. It begins when you stop judging your sensitivity and start recognizing it as a sacred gift. Carl Jung believed that our life's purpose is to make the unconscious conscious, to integrate what is hidden within us into awareness. When you feel different or misunderstood, it's often because you've glimpsed truths others aren't yet ready to see. Your mind and spirit operate on a higher frequency, one that challenges you to bring clarity where there is confusion. And while this awareness can make you feel alone, it also makes you a light in a world still half asleep. You are not meant to follow the crowd. You are meant to illuminate what lies beyond it. Rumi once wrote, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." That's the essence of your being vast, deep, and immeasurable. So when you find yourself standing apart, remember that every moment of solitude is sculpting your strength. Each time you feel unseen, the universe is teaching you how to see yourself. Every misunderstanding is a mirror asking you to trust your own perception. Feeling out of place is simply your soul's way of saying you were never meant to stay small. You are here to bring spiritual wisdom to a world that often forgets its own soul. As Carl Jung revealed, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. And the very fact that you've always felt different is proof that you are already awakening slowly, powerfully, into the extraordinary being you were always meant to be. 10. Endless curiosity and deep focus. You were never meant to accept life at face value because your mind was designed to question, to peel back layers, to seek the truth behind appearances. This endless curiosity that drives you is not a sign of restlessness. It's a sign of higher intelligence and spiritual sensitivity. You don't just see what is, you sense what could be. When others stop at why bother, you begin with why. Your questions are the sparks that ignite your growth, each one pushing you closer to spiritual awakening. Carl Jung once said, "To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem." That is why your mind refuses to rest. It is not chasing chaos, it is chasing clarity. Your curiosity is the inner compass of your soul, guiding you toward wisdom that can't be found in textbooks, but only through deep personal revelation. This same inner force fuels your remarkable focus. When something matters to you, the rest of the world fades into the background, and you become fully absorbed. Time dissolves, and you enter what scientists call flow, but what mystics recognize as communion with the divine. In that state, your consciousness expands beyond logic. You are not just thinking, you are becoming the thought. Jung called this the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious mind, the sacred space where inspiration is born. Your focus is not mere discipline, it's devotion. It is how your soul interacts with the universe, how spirit channels through you to create, to innovate, to reveal. This is why you might lose track of hours when working on a project or exploring an idea that fascinates you, because in those moments, you are aligned with purpose. Yet this gift often makes you feel misunderstood. People may see you as obsessive or too intense, but what they don't understand is that depth is your natural habitat. You were never meant to skim the surface. You were meant to dive. Your mind hungers for meaning, not distraction. You question everything because you sense there's always more to uncover, more to understand. You are not detached from reality. You are deeply connected to it on a level that most never reach. Your endless curiosity is not rebellion. It's reverence for truth. And your ability to focus is not a flaw. It's the mark of a spiritually attuned mind that refuses to waste energy on the trivial. This is what true spirituality looks like, not passively accepting what is told, but actively exploring what is hidden. Your curiosity is the fire that awakens the sleeping parts of your consciousness, and your focus is the vessel that channels that energy into creation and mastery. Together, they make you a seeker, a thinker, and a creator of new realities. When you merge your questioning nature with your deep focus, you don't just learn, you transform. And in that transformation lies the very essence of spiritual wisdom, the ability to see through illusion and uncover the living truth that lies beneath everything you touch, study, and become. We hope this journey into the hidden signs of giftedness has inspired you to embrace your endless curiosity and sharpen your focus on what truly matters. If you recognize this powerful trait within yourself, comment below. I am deeply focused. When you begin to recognize these hidden signs within yourself, remember they are not coincidences, but confirmations that you were born gifted for a greater purpose. Embrace your unique path with awareness and gratitude, and continue nurturing the light that sets you apart. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos that awaken your mind and elevate your spirit.